Good evening. It's March 20th, 2023. I'm Scott J. Hamilton, and welcome to this edition of the Hamilton Report. It was a crazy week at the Capitol last week, and it's going to be somewhat the same this week. But we do have some bright news because our Women's Federation is going to be at the Capitol in full force this week, and we'll also be learning about their statewide convention coming up next weekend. It's all tonight on the Hamilton Report. Well, like I said, last week was a busy week at the Capitol, a crazy week indeed, because our lawmakers voted not to support legislation that would prohibit teachers and school administrators from beating children with disabilities. I know, as crazy as that sounds, but it is in fact the truth. It is reported by the New York Times, the Washington Post, international media. Yes, Oklahoma made headlines across the world this week because of this stupidity in our legislature. But worse, one of the reasons that we were hearing that people said that they didn't vote to support stopping this is because they felt like they were voting against the Bible. In other words, they did not read the bill that they were voting on. I think that we should propose legislation that says everyone who wants to be a legislator must pass a sixth grade reading test. Because if you read a bill and you think it's voting against the Bible, which should have no place in legislation in the first place, because you don't seem to care about that in other areas, then either you're just not reading it or you're not reading it well, or regardless, you have no business being there. So that's my position. I'm standing firm on that. The bill will have another hearing. It was scheduled for today. So we'll see the results of that and keep you up to date as we learn more. But this is just another black eye for Oklahoma, and it's no wonder we can't get big businesses to come here, not with the culture that is being created and perpetuated by Stitt and Company. All right, that's the bad news. Now let's get to the good news. I mentioned that I am so very, very proud of our Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women. They have done yeoman's work for a very long time in supporting candidates and organizing communities and getting people elected. It's my privilege to welcome back to our broadcast someone who's been with us a number of times before, and always a pleasure. Jana Harkins, welcome to the Hamilton Report. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Scott. Happy Women's History Month.
And to you. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because we are celebrating women and their accomplishments this month. And you have been at the helm of the Federation for a while now, and yet you're still inspiring. Your group continues to come up with new ideas and new ways to be involved. And if you would tell us first about your inaugural Legislative Day of Action this week.
Yes, we're having our inaugural Women in Blue Advocacy Day at the Oklahoma State Capitol on Thursday, March the 23rd. We're going to gather at the Great Seal and on the ground floor at 8:30. Our chairpersons, Debbie Hope Downing here in Oklahoma City and Elaine Dodd in Tulsa, have planned a great day for us. We will be joined in our efforts by the Edmond Democratic Women, and we're encouraging all, not just women, but all Democrats that are concerned about the craziness coming out of our Republican-led legislature to join us on Thursday for our first Women in Blue Advocacy Day. And we only ask one thing, that you wear something blue. Blue jeans are fine. Blue suede shoes are fine. Something a little bit more conservative is fine, but we want everyone to join us for our Women in Blue Advocacy Day on Thursday, March the 23rd. It's going to be a great day to see how the sausage is made. It is a significant deadline day. It's the day that the House has to have bills over to the Senate and vice versa. So we're going to get to see some action. So it's going to be busy. We ask that if you're going to join us, that you try to make an appointment with your legislator to see them, or at least drop by their offices. If they have a book, sign it. Um, and we're going to have some information that you can leave with them about bills that we're concerned about. But it's going to be a great day to be at the Capitol, and it's going to be a great day to see a sea of blue in that Republican haven, Bible thumping place out there.
It certainly is. And I just want to underscore what Jana said. And while this is a women run event, it's not exclusive to women. I'm looking forward to being there. I've talked
Wonderful.
to several other men that are going to be there with us as well, because the more people we have under one big umbrella, the better the showing is. And so I'm excited about that. Jenna, what are some of the legislative measures that you're concerned about this session?
Well, actually, the funding for education, it's been cut. We've got a crazy man leading education here in the state, but we were really excited to see Representative Forrest Bennett's bill come out of the House yesterday with regard to our unhoused communities. So. Any legislation that for nothing specific. We're going to be talking about specific issues at our convention later in the week, but we're certainly concerned. Like one of our big things that we're concerned about is childcare. And while there's no specific legislation in the Oklahoma legislature this particular session, it's something that we're going to be looking for our friends to carry for us in the upcoming year. We're also concerned with, this how, this assault on our transgender fluid community. It's just outrageous. And we want to encourage our non-gender conforming friends to come and be with us on Thursday, March the 23rd. We are appalled at how the legislature has treated our friend, Representative Mari Turner, and we're going to show our support to her as well when we come out on Thursday.
That's wonderful to hear, because Maury Turner they've gone through a lot in the last few weeks, and I'm proud to show my support as well. Jenna, you didn't mention this, but I'm guessing that living wages are another area that you're concerned about, because in Oklahoma, the gender pay gap is higher than it is in much of the rest of the country.
Yes.
And so I'm certain that you folks are going to be advocating for living wages in Oklahoma.
Exactly. And our good friend, the Reverend Dr. Senator George Young, has legislation proposed with regard to raising the minimum wage, and we definitely support a living wage. We just got on last week, March the 14th, Equal Pay Day, and unfortunately, that gap is even larger here in Oklahoma.
Yes.
And we also know that when it comes to women of color, our indigenous women, our African American and Hispanic women, our AAIP members, their equal pay day won't come till later on down in the year. I think it's October for our indigenous women. So that is just atrocious, and it's certainly that's one of the issues that we will be tackling.
I know that Oklahoma consistently ranks among the worst places, and now this year we're number 51 for places for women to live. And it's not really surprising, Janet, considering all of the focus that has been placed on culture wars in the legislature as opposed to actually doing something that will help the majority of Oklahomans.
I say they concentrate on these cultural issues not just to build their base or feed the fears of people, but because they really don't want to do anything substantive.
Uh-huh.
They want to just be so hate and confusion. So it's not it's by design, and if you look at the national news, they're doing this all over the nation, but Oklahoma is just the craziest of the craziest. So, there we are.
And that's a of all the things that we claim, that should not be even on the list as far as I'm concerned.
And right. And then my senator, the pro tem, um, Mr. Treat, he says we need a study to figure out why businesses aren't coming to Oklahoma. That's the craziest thing that I've ever heard.
If he
Why
would just pick
spend
up the
time and
phone and
effort?
call me, exactly. He could call me, he could call you, and we could tell him in 2 minutes why they're not coming here.
Exactly. It's look at the nightly talk shows and how we're just fodder for all of the comedic. They're laughing not at us but with us because it's just atrocious what the Republican-led legislature is doing, and unfortunately, that falls out to our good Democrats, to our legislators that are actually trying to do something to help. They get thrown in there that, well, the legislature is not doing anything for me. Why am I electing them? Why do we need them? They're not doing anything. They're not, it's not that they're not doing anything. They just can't get past that brick wall that the people of Oklahoma elected.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point, Jana. In order for us to make significant differences, we just have to elect more Democrats.
Exactly.
And that's something that you and your federation have been steadfast in supporting Democratic candidates. I know last year you all raised money and contributed to it was several dozen campaigns that you contributed money to.
31.
It was 31. Okay, I knew it was a bunch. Because we wrote all those checks on your behalf. And I'm so excited, not just for what you have done, but for what you all are continuing to do and what you're planning for the future. And speaking of the future, tell us about your statewide convention coming up this weekend.
Okay, well, as we've talked about, it's going to kick off with our inaugural Women in Blue Advocacy Day. And then on Friday, the real work begins with the convention. It'll be a 2-day convention at the Embassy Suites, Oklahoma City Airport, which is our convention hotel. Have been there most of the last 57 years. So, as long as they've been there, we've been there. So, we will have plenary sessions. Our motto or my mantra of my 4 years as president of the Federation has been engage, educate, empower. And so we're going to add some more tools to our toolkit so that we can more effectively go back to our communities and engage our communities, educate them, empower them so that they will elect more Democrats and that we have more people stepping up to run. I've been putting out on social media that I need someone to move to Salisaw and Eufaula and replace those people that are currently there that ran the Olson, he ran unopposed this last time. We need people in our communities, and it starts with engaging and educating them to the importance of electing Democrats because Democrats deliver. as long as they can get past that GOP wall of fear mongering.
Yeah, and that's a wall that we've got to take apart one brick at a time. And
Yes.
and
But with regard to our convention, we have we actually have three excellent keynote speakers. On Friday for lunch, we're going to have Marilee Kick. She is a successful businesswoman who is the CEO and founder of BuzzBalls LLC.
now, just
She
for our audience, those are the little round um, containers that you often see at the checkout of convenience stores. Correct?
Correct. They have all kind of flavors. She is just a success story. Former classroom teacher, and she came up with an idea in her master's program for this, ecologically friendly, colorful packaging, the whole bit. And the rest is history. She's a billionaire. She's an international operation. And she's coming to speak to the women of the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women. Now, I have to add, she is the daughter of our member from Durant, Oklahoma, Bryan County, Maryland Alexander. So that's how we were able to get Miss Kick to come to our convention. And I tell everyone all the time, it's all about relationships.
It
Everything
absolutely
is
is.
about relationships. So because of Marilyn's daughter is coming to speak to our convention, and she's a big supporter of women's groups, not just us, not just her mother's interests. It's her business model. So we're going to be happy to hear from her. On Friday night, we're going to have our own Jana Nelson, education advocate extraordinaire, that will be speaking on our T-shirt night. We've invited all of our legislators to come and be our guest for T-shirt night, and it's going to be a wonderful opportunity to network with our legislators, the people that are doing all they can to make life better for us. And then, of course, on Saturday, our keynote speaker is going to be none other than DNC Black Caucus Chair Virgie Rollins from Michigan. And she's also the chair of our NFDW PAC. And, we've had every year Oklahoma's candidates, federal candidates, receive nice little checks from the NFDW PAC. So Virgie is an excellent speaker, and she is a motivator, and we're really looking forward to that. The other thing that I want to mention is that on Saturday, for our reception that starts at 6 o'clock, we have what is the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women's Hall of Fame. There have been a number of women advocates of the Democratic Party that have been inducted. And because it's Women's History Month, we're going to honor those people. I already know that we have several inductees into our Hall of Fame that will be attending that we haven't seen in years because they've been around forever. Loretta Jackson, I don't know if you personally know Loretta Jackson.
I don't.
She is from Chickasha. She was actually, people say, oh, Jana, she's the first Black person president of the Oklahoma Federation of Democratic Women. Not. That honor goes to Miss Loretta Jackson. Miss Loretta Jackson has received a Carl Albert Award. I mean, she is a dynamo still. And I will add that several people had told me that since COVID that Miss Loretta had passed on. And I thought, well, that would have been a big deal in the news if that had happened, because she is somebody. She is Miss Democrat in Grady County. So I just called her own phone number and she answered the phone. And at 88 years old, she is just as remarkable as she was 40 years ago. So we're just excited about that. We're also going to have the ceremonies for our um, Jane Flood Memorial. Jane Flood was our first president, where we honor the members of our organization that have passed on since our last convention. Of course, we lost a few good ones this year. So we're going to recognize them, and then we're going to have our award ceremony on Saturday night, where hopefully we'll be inducting one or two more people into our Hall of Fame and maybe select an Outstanding Woman of the Year as well. So it's just going to be a great convention. Angela Munson with the Oklahoma Policy Institute is going to do a plenary session. Our member, Georgia Brown member, attorney Eleanor Darden Thompson will also do one. We're going to talk about we need public utility advocates. Public utility advocates, please step up. And then we're going to have as well on our nonprofit spotlight, we're going to spotlight Palomar, the Family Justice Center here in Oklahoma City. And then, of course, the highlight is going to be I'm at a loss for words, but not that it doesn't mean anything to me, but the Oklahoma Democratic Party is going to talk about compliance issues and how we need to stay straight with the Oklahoma Ethics Committee and Commission and the Federal Election Commission. So our members have lots of questions because we definitely want to be in compliance. And so we're looking forward to that too.
It just sounds like you've got a true balance of fun and function. I mean, you're doing trainings, you're providing information, but there's a lot of fun elements going on as well.
Yes, and we need that. This is our first in-person convention since the pandemic. We had to cancel our 2020 convention, which was really sad because that was, 100 years since, women earned the right to vote. So we really had a great convention plan, but we had to cancel it because of COVID. And then our 21 and 22 conventions were virtually. So we're ready for some fun, and we want to share that with our friends in the legislature. We've got some great sponsors, the Chickasaw Nation, Sally's List, our own Debbie Thompson, who is the fourth vice president of the National Federation of Democratic Women, but she is also a member now of CD5 because of redistricting, but she's from Lincoln County right here in Little Old Oklahoma. So we're doing great things, and we're planning some even greater things. And if possible, we'd like for some of our friends and allies to join us for some of these fun events.
Well, like I said, I'll be there on Thursday, and I will be there as much as I can for your convention because it sounds like there's going to be something there that we can all benefit from.
Most definitely.
Two things. One is, and we'll talk about this off the air, but I would love to have a plaque with all of the women in the Hall of Fame to keep in our office here. I think that people would like to see all those names. So we can talk about that later on. But I just, as you were speaking, I thought, wow, I'd like to see that. And I bet other people would too.
Yes. And, the thing about it is that we have, we honor them. We have a great induction ceremony, and then their name just kind of goes on a plaque or in our program book. We recognize them every year in our program book. But, as, I'm rolling on down, my time as the president is short. And so and thinking, what can I do that is memorable that the other people that come behind me may want to do? And I think it's just only befitting that we honor these women that have done so much for the Democratic Party, not just the Federation, but for the Oklahoma Democratic Party as a whole.
And that's actually how I began talking about this at the top of this broadcast, because it goes way beyond the Federation. The work that the Women's Federation does, it truly benefits everyone in Oklahoma because of the way that you assess situations and put your resources behind making positive change. I do want to ask this: how did you wrangle Virgie to come here? Because, as you said, she is the chair of the DNC Black Caucus, an excellent speaker, and I'm just wondering, out of all 57 states and territories, how was it that you were able to get her to come to Oklahoma?
Well, I must say that it really goes back. I don't know if you all remember, some of the people on the that's tuning in today. Virgie came to Oklahoma to speak to the Georgia Brown Democratic Women's Equality Day in 2011. And she just loves Oklahoma. We had our Midwest regional meeting here, and she was here, and she just loves it. So, but I will say that our own Christy Breedlove from Tulsa, Heart of the Party, is Virgie's vice chair on the NFDW PAC. And so I think Christy probably had a lot to do with it.
There again, it's relationships.
Relationships, exactly.
Well, Jana, we are out of time, but I wish you all the best this week. Reminding everyone, it's 8:30 Thursday morning, first floor of the state capitol. Everyone is invited. Please wear blue. And then the convention proper starts the next day on Friday. There is lots of information available on our website about this, and I hope that people will truly get the information and then come out to participate. Jana, always a pleasure to welcome you onto the broadcast. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Scott. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And then whenever you can join us, you are my guest to join us.
I will be
throughout the convention.
Thanks so much, Jana. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Well, friends, this is one federation within the Oklahoma Democratic Party, and it excites me no end to see people gathering around a cause that's important to them. We have other federations that we'll be talking more about in the weeks and months to come, but I will just put in this note that the Women's Federation also, with all of our federations, will be having events at our state convention this year. And there's going to be so much to look forward to in our state convention. It'll be one that I think will surprise and delight everyone who comes. Well, we are out of time for tonight. I thank you so much for allowing us into your homes. And next week, I hope that you will tune in, because my guest will be the public school teacher that Ryan Walters warned you about. Until next week, take good care of yourself. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of all of us at the Oklahoma Democratic Party, I'm Scott J. Hamilton saying thank you and good night.